Happy Wednesday, everybody. What's going on? What's really going on today? Look, I said I was going to go live today, right? So I can just kind of touch bases a little bit more on what I was speaking about last night. I'm Carolyn, the host of Curve Uncensored. Make sure you like and share this stream because when you like it and you share it, it lets people know about me, and it also lets me know that you like what I am talking about. So make sure you like it, like it, like it. Not just view it. Like, I appreciate the views, but like it, okay? And share it. But basically, today I want to just kind of talk about really quick. Last night I went live and I was talking about, I subscribe to different, just to give you a recap, I subscribe to different um, channels and things like that. So when they go live, I can see what's going on and what's happening and that kind of thing. And I can come back and talk to you guys about different things, or I can add to it or subtract from it, shake it up or whatever, right? So basically, I got a notification that this particular podcast, they were talking about, and this, let me tell you the demographics of the podcast, right? It was men and it was women. I think maybe it was about maybe 3 or 4 guys and maybe about 3 girls, and they were all kind of giving their input on the topic. And basically, the topic was, can Black women compete with foreign women for the Black man? Can Black women compete with foreign women for the Black man? So I said, well, let me see what they're talking about. And yesterday I was in a rush. I couldn't really get into it. So I just kind of wanted to touch bases on it. And I later on I kind of went in and took a look, at what they were talking about and I listened. And the women had their opinion, the men had their opinion. And this thing is that I personally, as a Black woman, I don't feel like we need to compete against anyone for anything. Same thing I said last night. I still feel that way today. I don't feel like we need to compete against anyone for anything. And my biggest thing, I think the reason that they said Black women and Black men, that kind of thing, is because a lot of Black men date outside their race, right? And so I guess that was just kind of like the topic of conversations for that particular day. Now, in the midst since yesterday, I went on actually just kind of looking around different podcasts, and I came across another podcast, and there was a lady on this podcast. It was actually a TikTok excerpt, and the lady was a Dominican lady. And Dominicans have a really nice brown skin. Some of them are a little fair, a little lighter than others, but honestly, they would go for a bright skinned Black person or Puerto Rican or something like that than they will a Caucasian. So she had gave us a little insight, and she had stated that when they come, and this is just her opinion, but I'm just kind of giving you a little synopsis of what she was saying. She was basically saying, when they come, a lot of Dominicans come to the States or whatever. Of course, they want to come for a better life and all of that. And a lot of times, once they hit the States, because they're coming from an area, a lot of them, some of them, I don't know how many demographics, so don't hold me to that, but they may not be as educated, and then the type of jobs they have are kind of like labor jobs. So they try to connect with the people that they are working for and that kind of thing. So a lot of them would like to identify with the white Americans, right? But the white Americans are like, you're not white. And Black people, like, a lot of times they're like, we welcome you with open arms, but they're like, no, we don't want to identify with the Black people because we don't want the Black experience. Everyone knows in America, white supremacy is just kind of what it is. So they don't want to, a lot of times, she say, for them being Dominicans, her experience is the reason that they try to come to the States, and they would rather identify with white people, but they don't accept them like that. And they don't want to identify with Blacks because they don't want our experience. Of course, the Black experience has not been that great in the States, of course, in America. So they don't want that experience because they're coming to the States for a better experience. So they said, well, we had bump everybody. We just going to identify with being Dominican, which I totally respect that. You are Dominican. You should identify with being Dominican. However, I don't necessarily agree with the reason for that. because when you look at them, some Dominicans are very darker skinned people. They're not white. They're more like us because the shades of their complexion go from very light to darker skin. So it seems like they would identify with us, but they don't want to identify with us because of the black experience, is what she said from her TikTok insert that I heard. So I'm like, it's so unfortunate that everyone thinks that African American to identify with us is just so terrible. When you ask me, honestly, I enjoy being African American. I don't have a problem with any other race. I like Caucasians. I like um all other races, Jews. I like pretty much people that are nice. I don't really care, who they are. If they're nice people, then they get a nice reaction from me. If they're jerks, regardless of their race, then I'm a jerk towards them. So I don't get hung up on the race thing. I do know our people have had a disadvantage and we're trying to push forward. So I'm praying that as things continue to evolve and opportunities are there, that we become more united than we are, from especially kind of digressing a little bit from what we've been seeing with the gun violence. I'm just praying that that kind of goes away or slows down or something. But when I talk about black women and black men and can we compete, you know, rest in heaven, rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. He was a big proponent of um black women not being of a certain can expect a certain type of man, and basically not being able to compete with other ethnicities and things of that nature. He was big on that, and he kind of pushed that a lot, and that's unfortunate because to me I think it puts us as black women in an unfortunate position, because it's like we're always having to fight. And me personally, I don't feel like we have to fight for anything. I feel like Black women are intelligent, we are strong, we are great mothers. We're gonna be by your side. And a lot of other races, don't get me wrong, they do the same thing. But I'm just coming from my experience as a Black woman. I don't feel like we as women have to compete with any other race for anything. As a matter of fact, I feel as if, a lot of races actually would like to incorporate things that are innate to us, the fuller lips, the browner complexion, the more voluptuous body. I just feel as if when the thing with me about the whole situation, people do what they want to do. If you're attracted to if you're a black man and you are attracted to another race, then that is your thing. I don't hate people like what they like. It don't make me no difference. It don't change how I feel about myself. The problem that I have when African American men, black men, or whatever date outside of our race is when they think that they have stepped it up. I don't feel as that's what irks me with this whole conversation. So when I heard the people on the podcast talking about that last night, it just kind of stemmed something with me. I'm like, black women always have to compete against we already have to compete within our race when it comes to, and we really shouldn't have to do that. But you're kind of trying to find you a good man. You want someone that you can spend the rest of your life with, build your family with. So then when you have to now compete against other races, it just kind of slims the pickings a little bit. I talked to a lot of young ladies, and today they tell me, it's so difficult to find a good man. And personally, I don't know if it's just that or it's just like we're not willing to wait. And we're not willing to put that energy into ourselves and not focus so much in getting the man. I feel like if you take care, you kind of like attract the energy that you put out and the people that you are around. I think taking care of yourself and realizing that as black women and a woman, period, but particularly black women, because that's what I'm talking about, that you are enough. It's not so much about being black or being white or being Dominican or Hispanic or none of that. It's just understanding as a woman that you are enough for whatever it is you're trying to get to. And I hate it when you have like, sometimes you have, and there are quite a few African American men that solely date outside their race. I've heard of them. I've researched them on the internet, and they are actually out there. If you Google, you'll actually see African American men that solely date outside their race, and that's what irks me with the thing. When I don't know if it has something to do with that forbidden fruit syndrome. Like back in the day, they could not do it. Now they can do it, and they can date outside their race, and it's like the thing to do. I don't know what it is, but one thing that I have a problem with is when you decide to do that, and you can do that, then now you look down on your race, particularly because you don't really see a lot of that in other races as much as you do in our race. You can look at the hip hop videos, you can look at a lot of things. It's like if we had not pushed to be in a lot of the makeup commercials, a lot of the hair commercials, skin commercials. And I really happen to think that African American skin is a very pretty skin. It's so diverse, but if we didn't fight so hard to be able to be like, hey, over here, we are beautiful, we wouldn't see as much of that on television and on the boxes of the hair products now and the skin products and the models and things like that. So I personally feel like African American women are some of the prettiest women. Another thing I've heard is that, like if we wear extensions, like I wear extensions, it's not my hair, but I wear extensions, I wear braids. I don't wear my natural hair a whole lot, but I can. But I just kind of wear different things, not necessarily because it's prettier one way or the other. It's just my preference. You have some African American women that prefer the more natural look, the kinky look. Like my sister, she wears her natural hair a lot now. As she's gotten older, she prefers her natural hair. She feels it's lighter, it's easier to manage, but it's more expensive to take care of. But it's just me. I have a preference. I like the braids, or I like the extensions, and sometimes I will wear short extensions if I want to put another wig, or I might wear a bob, or some days you come on here, I may have a ponytail, or some days I may come, I just like to switch it up. It's not necessarily that I think it's prettier or anything like that. That's where the confusion comes in. I just kind of, me personally, I just like to look different, and I switch it up, and it's just what I'm feeling and vibing with for that day. So I really think to me, it just, I don't care what someone does. But what irked me about the whole thing about can we compete with foreign women for the black man? I don't understand why all that is necessary, because if a man is into you, they're into you. If they're attracted to you, they're attracted to you. All that competing stuff is not necessary, because at the end of the day, if you take the skin off us, it's about what's down deep. People are who they are, they're individual. And me, myself, I feel like I'm enough for whatever and whoever. I don't feel like there's any woman of any nationality that can do or get anything that I want. So I just feel confident, and I think for me as a mother, I try to put that into my children, even my son. He's a confident man. My daughters, I try to raise them to be confident and to love themselves and love the skin that they're in, and be confident, become educated. No one can take that. My grandfather always taught me, the more educated you are, no one can take that from you. So I just think as mothers, us reinforcing into our girls and our sons, but particularly our girls, that loving yourself and being around good people that bring out the best in you will actually put you in an environment to attract the things and the type of person that you're looking for. This competing and all this stuff, why, as a black woman, why do we have to compete? People normally are attracted to who they're attracted to. I don't think it's necessary to be putting in the atmosphere like, can we compete? As if, to me, that's saying that we can't compete. Can you compete? Why do we have to compete against anybody for a man? That's the thing that just bugs me. I think if we love ourselves enough, you will be enough to get whatever and whoever. And actually, you spend more time loving on yourself, doing things that make you feel good and taking care of, because no man is promised to you, whether he be black, white, green, or purple, it does not matter. So I think loving yourself and giving back to yourself and putting back in yourself is what's really most important. Not competing against the man, because one thing about a man, you can't make him stay. If, I don't care, you can have a baby, you can love him to death, you can do anything you want to do. If he doesn't want to be with you, regardless of your race, or your body size or your income or any of that stuff, he's not going to be there. So I don't think it has anything to do, or we should maybe focus less on someone being black or white or whatever, Dominican, Hispanic, or whatever. Um, whatever, just focus on more loving yourself and being the best that you are. And I think that's the key. I really kind of felt like I wanted to address it because sometimes I feel like as black women, I think sometimes we have that little slight insecurity because we see it so often. There's is so many times that we see a lot of African American men. You're lonely, you're looking for you a nice guy, and you can't really find that person. And you feel like, some of them are in jail, some of them are already connected, and then but that kind of happens in all races, but in our races, it just it's a little elevated, so it's like and then it's like so hard to find a relationship that is if you I personally would not want to have to start over right now. With my daughter, I'm like, Lord, I just pray she meets someone nice that's going to treat her well, because it's like the value of a woman in general now has just been diminished. Back in the day when women were like special and treated special, it's like the chivalry, opening the door. Now they don't do a lot of that. You know what I mean? They call you out your name sometimes. It's just the love is not there like it used to be. So I think as women, instead of like trying to look for a man to make you feel good and reassure you and have that solid relationship, look into putting it back into yourself and treating yourself well and making sure that you're all that you need to be to yourself. And then you will put that out into the atmosphere and attract the perfect person for you. I think we have to learn how to sit back and, how they say, old days, wait on Jesus, but putting yourself in good environments and around people that's gonna, attract the type of people that you really want to attract. Because there are good men out there. There are good men out there, but you just can't rush. You can't just be picking any of them that come up. Everybody that talk to you, come up to you. You don't need to be talking to. So you got to be able to decipher that, and you got to be able to put energy into yourself and make sure that the person, you're getting to know the person, because anytime you meet people, you're meeting their representative. Some of them you'd rather give them to another race or whoever, because really you don't want them. You don't want to be bothered with them. So I think personally, this whole idea of competing, I think that this kind of like put that kind of thing to the side, and let's just focus on loving ourselves and understanding that as a woman, and particularly a black woman, which is where I'm coming from, you are enough. You don't need anyone to tell you that. You don't need anyone to reassure you of that. Do things by giving back to yourself, educational wise, saving money, making sure you take trips, spending that quality time with you, because the better you feel inside is what you attract and put on the outside. So I don't know. I just kind of wanted to come and address that because I felt like it was just kind of ironic that it's always that we are not good enough and we have to compete against someone. And I just kind of want to come and say we don't have to compete for anything with anyone. It's all about what you want and what you're willing to accept. That's really what matters. So, anyway, just wanted to come and say what's up. Have an awesome Wednesday. I hope everybody's ready for Turkey Day next week. I know I am. And I'll be coming back live a little closer to Thanksgiving. So, anyway, love you all. Enjoy your Wednesday, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.